Hey everybody, it's Brett and welcome back to my channel where today I am going to be talking about maybes for the month of May. There are so many books that are coming out. I can't even believe between now and June, the stacks are just insane. So these are 8 books that for me, I'm going to try to prioritize. So stick around. All right, before we start, on my last video, I had talked about this book. I showed it, Questions Without Answers by Sarah Manguso, illustrated by Leanna Fink, that it's a series of questions that kids have asked. Sarah Manguso collected and then Leanna Fink illustrates them. So I want to do one more of these today because they're kind of fun. And I think this is a totally fun book. By the way, this would be like just a little great gift book. And thank you again to Hogarth for this. All right, so opening blindly. This is today's question I'm going to ask all of you. Do different color inks have different tastes? That's the picture. You can let me know your thoughts below. Or maybe you could ask your kid that question and see what they think. All right, so moving on. 8 books. These aren't in any particular order, but these are some things that have been sent to me, some things that I've bought and looked interesting. So let's go in through it. The first, Fog and Fury by Rachel Howzell Hall. I've only read one book by her. This is getting great reviews. What did I read? And Now She's Gone. That's what I read. But she has so many books. Thriller writer, and this is her latest, which is coming out in June. And thank you to Amazon Publishing for this. I'll really quickly read you the rundown. After 10 years on the force, LAPD cop Sunny Rush relocates with her elderly mother to peaceful Haven, California to join her godfather's burgeoning PI business. What crimes could possibly happen in a town nicknamed Mayberry by the Sea? Sunny's first case: find Figgy, a missing golden doodle last seen sporting a Versace collar. At least scouting out a dog napper gives Sunny a chance to get to know her new neighbors. 48 hours in town and Figgy's disappearance entangles Sunny in an unwelcome reunion with her ex, one of Haven's wealthiest citizens. And when the body of a teenage boy is found along a popular hiking trail, Sunny is drawn into a web of strange beyond anything she ever saw in LA. Then comes a local's warning: question everything. Haven hides secrets that could destroy its idyllic facade, or destroys Sunny first. So I think this sounds totally good. And this comes out at the beginning of June. Fog and Fury. That's the first. Okay, next. I saw this book. This is nominated for, I believe, the Woman's Prize, and I hadn't heard of it before. And then there's a guy over on Instagram, Tim Talks Books, who runs the Nantucket Book Festival, and he is also besties with Ellen Hildebrand, and they have a book podcast as well. But he had raved about this book. It's called The Artist and the Feast by Lucy Steed. In the UK, it's just called The Artist, and it's been out there a little longer, but it just came out here. And I had a devil of a time finding this book. No one was carrying it, but I finally found it. But I think this is the most beautiful cover. During a scorching summer in 1920s Provence, young journalist Joseph Adelaide turns up at the farmhouse of reclusive artist Edward Tartuffe, hoping to write an article about him. There he meets Eddie, Tartuffe's niece, who appears to do everything for her uncle, from cooking and cleaning to catering to his maniacal moods. Joseph is beguiled by where he finds himself, not only by this foreign place or Tartuffe, but also by Eddie, who watches everything quietly from the periphery. Both Joseph and Eddie carry wounds from their past, and as they become more intimate, they begin to lay bare the scars to themselves and to each other. As summer wears on, they explore new passions and ideas, and Joseph, Eddie, and Tartuffe are propelled towards a finale that reveals long-held secrets and sets the world on fire. So that's The Artist and the Feast. I think it sounds great. Then, coming from MCD Books, and thank you for the copy of this, which is Chris Pavone's The Doorman. I had read Two Nights in Lisbon, and I thought it was really wonderful. So this is about a doorman at a very elite apartment in Manhattan named Chicky. And I'm just going to read you the last paragraph. As Chicky changes into his uniform for tonight's shift, he finds himself breaking a cardinal rule of the job. Tonight, he'll be carrying a gun, bought only hours earlier before he had any idea about what's about to happen at the Bohemia, which is the name of the place. Tonight in the city, enemies will clash, loyalties will be tested, secrets will be revealed, and lives will be lost. The Doorman. You know, it's funny because I'm looking at all these books that I'm reading, and so many of them are kind of mysteries or mysterious. And I don't know, it feels a little summer to me, maybe. That's a good time for these books, mysteries. All right, the next one up. There are reasons for this. A novel by Nini Berndt. This came to me from Tin House, and thank you for this. Again, getting rave reviews. Kirkus had given it a starred review. As you know, I love a good debut novel, which this is. This says, Lucy's brother, Mikey, is dead. 2 years ago, when he left their small eastern Colorado town and moved west to Denver, he'd intended to bring Lucy along. But Lucy is too late. She arrives in search of Helen, a woman Mikey loved. But when Lucy moves in across the hall, she finds nothing is as she expected. The city's crumbling, the weather's tempestuous, a predator is on the loose, the old woman in the attic needs company, desire is being compressed into pills and distributed like candy, and most distressingly of all, she finds herself becoming obsessed with Helen, who is nothing like she expected and who has no idea who Lucy really is. As Helen and Lucy's lives become more entwined, Lucy begins to realize that the real reasons she came to Denver are deeper and stranger than a simple desire to understand what happened to her brother. As a storm builds and the city falls apart, Lucy finds herself drawn further to Helen and further from her brother, questioning what makes a family and if love can ever really be found. There are reasons for this as a modern love song to the fallibility of love in all its iterations, and to the denial and tethering of desire, to the family we are given and the one we find us for ourselves, and to what comes next, whatever that may be. So, it sounds really interesting. And this is coming out June 3rd. All right, then the book that's everywhere this week, and he is everywhere, The Emperor of Gladness by Ocean Vuong, and thank you to Penguin for this. This is one of my most anticipated, and this is going to be next up on my book list. So, all about a relationship between a troubled young man and an older woman that he meets who has dementia, and the relationship and the bond that forges between them. So, Oprah has called this one of the best books she has ever read, and Ocean, of course, is the book pick of the month for Oprah. So, there you go. There's that. Out now. Then I saw this on, I don't know whose Instagram or BookTube, but it's Charlie Porter's Nova Scotia House. And this is not even slated to come out in the US, so that's why I wanted to jump on it. It just says, Johnny Grant faces stark life decisions. Seeking answers, he looks back to his relationship with Jerry Field. When they met nearly 30 years ago, Johnny was 19, Jerry was 45. They fell in love and made a life on their own terms in Jerry's flat. Number 1, Nova Scotia House. Johnny is still there today, but Jerry is gone, and so is the world they knew. As Johnny's mind travels between then and now, he remembers stories of Jerry's youth, of experiments and living, of radical philosophies, of the many possibilities of love, sex, and friendship before the AIDS crisis devastated the queer community. Slowly, he realizes what he must do next and attempts to restore ways of being that could be lost forever. Nova Scotia House takes us into the heart of a relationship, a community, and an era. It is both a love story and a lament, intimate, visionary, and profoundly original. It marks the debut of a vibrant new voice in contemporary fiction and a writer with a liberating new story to tell. Nova Scotia House. Then I was so excited when Simon & Schuster reached out about this book to me because I've heard such great things about it. And he's coming to LA and I'm going to go try to see him. He is Jon Hickey. The book is Big Chief. It is a gripping literary debut about power and corruption, family, and facing the ghosts of the past. Mick Cato, a young law school graduate and aspiring political fixer, is an outsider in the homeland of his Anishinaabe ancestors. But alongside tribal president Mac Beck, his childhood friend, Mitch runs the government of the Passage Rouge Nation, and with it the tribe's Golden Eagle Casino and Resort. On the eve of Mac's re-election, their tenuous grip on power is threatened by a nationally known activist and politician, Gloria Hawkins, and her young aide, Layla Beck, none other than Mac's estranged sister and Mitch's former love. In their struggle for control over Passage Rouge, the campaigns resort to bare-knuckle political gamesmanship, testing the limits of how far they will go and what they will sacrifice to win it all. But when an accident claims the life of Mitch's mentor, a power broker in the reservation's political scene, the election slides into chaos and pits Mitch against the only family he has. As relationships strain to their breaking points and a peaceful protest threatens to become an all-consuming riot, Mitch and Layla must work together to stop the reservation's descent into violence. Thrilling and timely, Big Chief is an unforgettable story about the search for belonging to an ancestral and spiritual home, to a family, and to a sovereign people at a moment of great historical importance. I think it sounds really good. And the last, this also came to me from Simon & Schuster, and thank you. It's called Aftertaste. It's by Daria Lavelle. Okay, so I'm going to read you the premise of this, and it sounds somewhere between like Ghost and The Bear, okay? Konstantin Duhovny is a haunted man. His father died when he was 10, and ghosts have been hovering around him ever since. Kostya can't exactly see the ghosts, but he can taste their favorite foods. Flavors of meals he's never eaten will flood his mouth, a sign that his spirit is present. He's kept these aftertastes a secret for most of his life. But one night, he decides to act on what he's tasting, and everything changes. Kostya discovers that he can reunite people with their departed loved ones for just one last meal. Convinced that his life's purpose is to serve closure to grieving strangers, he sets out to learn all he can by entering a particularly fiery ring of hell, the New York culinary scene. But as his kitchen skills catch up with his ambitions, he's too blind to see the He's too blind, but as his kitchen skills catch up with his ambitions, he's too blind to see the catastrophe looming in the afterlife. And the one person who knows Kostya must be stopped also happens to be falling in love with him. Set in the bustling world of New York restaurants and teeming with mouth-watering food writing, Aftertaste is a whirlwind romance, a heart-wrenching look at love and loss, and a ghost story about all the ways we hunger and how far we'll go to find satisfaction. Aftertaste. So those are my 8 maybes that I'm trying to prioritize for the month. I have some books that I'm finishing up for the podcast that I'm also in. A little bit of note about the podcast. There will be episodes of the podcast through June, and a lot of them. Some weeks I'll be doubling up. So look for those. A lot of authors I'm really excited about having on. And then the podcast will be going down for 2 months, save for 2 episodes that had been scheduled previously, because I need a break and because of life stuff. And then the podcast will resume in September for all of you who are following the podcast. Okay, so that's all for me today. I hope you're all doing well and have a great week wherever in the week you are when you're watching this. And I will see you all soon.